Hello, friends. Have you ever had this happen? You're rushing to a meeting, you need to pay for parking, you pull out your phone, open the app, and it just hangs. The little wheel spins and spins and spins. Or picture this, it's been a long week, you've finally got an hour to yourself. You open your favorite streaming service to watch that show everyone's talking about, you click play and an error has occurred. Please try again later. That feeling, right? That little spike of pure 21st century digital rage. That moment where you want to ask your phone, why are you doing this to me? We've all been there. You've probably been there this week. But have you ever stopped to think about the person whose entire professional life is dedicated to making sure that doesn't happen? Have you ever thought about the invisible hero who stands between you and that error 404? Who is this person, this guardian of your sanity? This professional skeptic who gets paid to break things? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most misunderstood, most undervalued, and yet most business-critical roles in the entire technology industry. We are talking about the quality assurance engineer, the QA, the tester. And I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh, QA, isn't that the person who just, clicks buttons all day? Or isn't that just the easy way to get into it, the job for people who can't really code? If that's what you think, then I am so glad you're here, because I'm going to tell you a story that might just change how you see every single piece of technology you use, from your banking app to your car's navigation system. We are going to dismantle the myths. We're going to find out why a great QA is worth their weight in gold. We'll explore why this job is part detective, part psychologist, part diplomat, and part, well, a little bit of a friendly villain. By the end of this video, you won't just understand what a QA does. You will understand how they think. You'll understand the profound difference between just finding a bug and truly assuring quality. And you'll probably never look at a submit button the same way again. So make yourself comfortable. This isn't a short sprint, it's a deep dive. Grab a coffee or a tea because we are going to explore the soul of quality. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end because this conversation isn't just about software. It's about our relationship with the world we build and how we make it better, safer, and less frustrating for everyone. So let's start at the very beginning, the most fundamental question: who is the QA? In the grand theater of software development, if the developers are the actors and the project managers are the directors, the QA is the audience's best friend. They are the person sitting in the shadows of the theater, taking meticulous notes and whispering, "I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that character." Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. The QA is the user's first and most powerful advocate. They are the representative of you, the end user, but with one crucial difference. They get to be your advocate before the product is released. They are your voice in the room, long before you even know there's a room. Think about a team of brilliant architects and builders. They are tasked with building a magnificent, beautiful skyscraper. The developers, the programmers, they are the master builders. They get the blueprints, the requirements, and they get to work. They lay the foundation, they raise the steel, they install the beautiful glass panels. Their job is to build, and they are very, very good at it. Then the QA engineer walks onto the construction site. The builder says, "Look, it's finished. It's exactly to the blueprint." And the QA says, "It's beautiful, truly. Now, what happens if there's a fire?" The builder, a bit annoyed, says, "A fire? The blueprint didn't say anything about a fire." The QA nods, "I know, but what if? Where are the emergency exits? And why does this stunning floor-to-ceiling glass door at the entrance open inward? If people are panicking and rushing out, they're going to get trapped. And this beautiful marble floor, it's gorgeous. But what happens when it rains? Is it non-slip? Have we thought about someone in a wheelchair trying to get through that revolving door?" That is the QA mindset. It's not about saying your work is bad. It's not about being negative or pessimistic. It's about having the professional, structured, and empathetic imagination to see the future. to see all the potential failures, not to place blame, but to prevent disaster. A developer's job is to make things work. A QA's job is to figure out all the ways they won't work. A developer, by necessity, thinks about the happy path. This is the ideal, perfect scenario. The user opens the app. The user sees the login button. The user types their correct email and their correct password. The user clicks login once. The user is logged in. Everyone is happy. But a QA lives in a world of beautiful, chaotic, and realistic unhappiness. Their job is to explore all the unhappy paths. What if the user forgot their password? What if they type it in but with a typo? What if they type it in but in all caps? What if their cat walks across the keyboard and enters 1,000 random characters? What if they put an emoji in the password field? What if they put a line of SQL code in the password field trying to hack the database? What if they're on a slow, spotty 3G connection? What if they're colorblind and can't tell the difference between the red cancel button and the green confirm button? What if they're using a screen reader because they're visually impaired and the button just says button instead of submit payment? This is what we mean by user advocacy. It's not just does it work, it's does it work for everyone, in every situation. This is empathy. It is professional, structured, weaponized empathy. The QA is the one person in the room paid to have a bad day so that you, the user, never have to. This brings us to the first and biggest myth we have to bust. So testers just click buttons randomly. They just play with the app all day. I hear this so often, and it's like saying a brain surgeon just cuts people open, or a chef just throws food in a pan. It completely misses the universe of thought, planning, and strategy that happens before a single click is ever made. What you see might be a click, but that click is the final step of a rigorous, analytical, scientific process. Before a QA engineer even touches the new feature, they have been working. First, they read the documentation, the requirements, the blueprints. They're not just reading it, they're interrogating it. They are looking for ambiguity, for contradictions. The document says the button should be blue. The QA immediately asks, what shade of blue? What's the hex code? What does blue mean? What if the user is in dark mode? Should it still be blue? What happens when I click it? What happens if I hover over it? They are looking for the bugs before a single line of code is written. This is the cheapest, most effective way to ensure quality. To fix a bug in a text document, it costs almost nothing. To fix that same logical flaw after it's been designed, coded, and built, that costs a fortune. Second, based on these requirements, they create a test plan. This is the strategy document. How are we going to test this skyscraper? We'll test the foundation. We'll test the electrical. We'll test the plumbing. We'll test the fire alarms. Third, they write test cases. This is where it gets detailed. A test case is not click the button. A test case is a specific, repeatable experiment. It looks like this. Test case ID, TC001. Title, verify successful login with valid credentials. Preconditions, user is on the login page. User has a valid account. Steps, enter testuser@gmail.com into the email field. Enter valid password 123 into the password field. Click the login button. Expected result. User is successfully navigated to the dashboard page. A welcome message, hello, test user, is displayed. Now multiply that by 1,000. Test case ID, TC002. Verify unsuccessful login with invalid password. Test case ID, TC003. Verify unsuccessful login with invalid email. Test case ID, TC004. Verify the forgot password link works. Test case ID, TC005. Verify the email field rejects an entry without an @ symbol. Test case ID, TC006. Verify the password field is masked, shows dots, not the text. Test case ID TC007. Verify login on Chrome browser. Test case ID TC008. Verify login on Firefox browser. Test case ID TC009. Verify login on an iPhone 12. Test case ID TC010. Verify login on a 5-year-old Android phone. This is not clicking around. This is meticulous, deliberate, and exhaustive investigation. It's the scientific method applied to software. They form a hypothesis. If I do this, this should happen. And then they test it over and over and over. And when they find a mismatch, when the expected result does not match the actual result, they've found it, a bug, a defect. So when a QA clicks a button, they are not playing. They are executing an experiment. That single click is the culmination of hours of analysis, planning, and critical thinking. Now, while we're busting myths, let's clear up some terminology, because people in tech love their acronyms. You'll hear QA, you'll hear QC, and you'll hear testing. Are they all the same thing? No, and the difference is profound. It's the difference between being a firefighter and being a fire inspector. Both are important, but they do very different jobs. Let's stick with our restaurant analogy. Testing/quality control QC, this is finding defects. This is the head chef in the kitchen tasting the soup right before it goes out to the customer. He dips a spoon in. Too much salt. He's found a defect. He reacts to it. He tells the line cook to fix it. This is quality control. It's product-oriented. It's reactive. It's about catching mistakes. This is what most people think a QA's job is. Quality assurance, QA. This is preventing defects. QA is not the chef tasting the soup. QA is the person who designed the entire kitchen. QA is the person who wrote the recipe and made sure it was clear. QA is the person who trained the cooks on how to measure salt. QA is the person who researched and sourced a high-quality salt provider. QA is the person who designed the workflow so the kitchen is efficient and clean. QA is process-oriented. It's proactive. It's not about finding bugs. It's about creating a system, a process, where bugs are less likely to be created in the first place. A true QA engineer is always asking why. Not just, why is this button broken? But why did this bug happen? Why did the developer not know the correct requirement? Why did our process not catch this sooner? They might find a bug in the soup, QC, but then they put their QA hat on and ask, why is the soup always too salty on Tuesdays? And they investigate and they find out that on Tuesdays, a new junior cook is working and the recipe just says a pinch of salt. His pinch is different from the head chef's pinch. A QC person just says fix the soup. A QA person says let's change the recipe to say 5 grams of salt and buy everyone a standardized measuring spoon. Let's fix the process. See the difference? One is a short-term fix. The other is a long-term systemic improvement. A good QA does both. They find the immediate problems, QC, but they always use those problems as data to improve the system, QA. This is why the title is Quality Assurance, not just Bug Finder. Now this talk of process and systems leads to another giant topic, automation. The other big myth, won't computers and AI just automate all the testing jobs? This is a huge fear and it's a valid question, but the answer is a beautiful no. It just changes the job. Let's go back to our list of test cases. Remember TC007, TC008, TC009. Verify login on Chrome, Firefox, iPhone, Android. Now add 10 more browsers and 50 more devices and 5 different languages. This is what we call a regression sweep. Regression is a fancy word for checking if the new stuff we built accidentally broke the old stuff that used to work. And you have to run this every single time the code changes, which in a modern company is multiple times a day. Imagine a human being. Let's call him Stan. Stan's job is to manually log into the app on 50 different devices every single day. By Wednesday, Stan is bored. By Thursday, Stan is making mistakes. By Friday, Stan has quit. This is robot work. It's boring, it's repetitive, it's high volume, and it's essential. Enter the automation QA engineer. This is a person who looks at Stan's job and says, "We can do better." An automation QA is a hybrid. They have the mind of a tester, the skepticism, the curiosity, the user advocacy, but they also have the skills of a programmer. They write code, not code for the app, but code that tests the app. They build an army of digital robots, we call them scripts, that can do Stan's entire 8-hour job in 8 minutes. These robots can run at 3 a.m. They can run on 100 virtual machines at once. They can test thousands of combinations. And they never get bored. They never get tired. And they will always spot the difference between "hello, test user" and "hello, test user," a tiny bug a human might miss. So, does this replace the human tester? No, it liberates them. By automating the boring, repetitive, robot work, you free up the human QA's most valuable asset, their brain. You can't automate curiosity. You can't automate empathy. You can't automate this just feels wrong. The button works, but it's in a weird place. It feels awkward. You can't automate common sense. This is called exploratory testing. This is when a human tester, armed with their experience, their knowledge of the app, and their spidey sense for bugs, just explores. They go off script. They flow through the application like a real user, but a real user with a mischievous streak. They try things. What if I add this to my cart, then open another tab and remove it from there? Will the first tab update? A robot can't think of that, but a human can. So the modern QA team is a beautiful partnership. The automation QAs build a massive, strong, fast safety net of automated tests that catch all the known unknowns and regressions. This gives the manual QAs the confidence and the time to do the deep, creative, human work. The exploratory testing, the usability testing, the new feature testing, to find the unknown unknowns. You need both. They are two wings of the same bird. And the idea that one will replace the other is a fundamental misunderstanding of what quality is. Automation tells you if your old stuff still works. Manual, exploratory testing tells you if your new stuff is any good. Okay, we are deep in the trenches now. We've talked about the why, the what, and the how. We've busted the button clicker myth. We've differentiated QA from QC, and we've untangled the manual versus automation debate. And if you're still here, if you're finding this interesting, if your perspective is starting to shift, then let's do a little check-in. This channel is all about digging past the surface level of technology and finding the human stories, the whys behind the whats. If that's your kind of thing, do me a small favor and hit that like button. It's a tiny click for you, but it's a massive signal to the YouTube algorithm that says, "Hey, this is a conversation worth having." And if you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. We have so much more to explore together. And now I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, what is the single weirdest or most frustrating bug you have ever encountered in your life? Was it in a game, a banking app, a car? Let's share some war stories. It'll be therapeutic, I promise. All right, you've done that. Awesome. Let's get back to it, because now I want to talk about the person. What does it take? What is the mindset of a great QA engineer? It's one thing to know the techniques. It's another to have the soul of a tester. I've worked with hundreds of QAs in my career, and the great ones. They all share a few, very specific and very special personality traits. First and most importantly is insatiable curiosity. A great QA has a mind that cannot just accept things as they are. They are the 5-year-old child in the room who never stops asking why. A developer sees a submit button. A user sees a submit button. A QA sees a universe of questions. Why is it a button and not a link? Why is it this color? Why this text? What happens if I click it with my left mouse button? My right? What if I double click it? What if I triple click it? What if I hold the enter key down? What if I hit tab and then enter? What if I'm offline and I click it? What error message will I get? Will the message be clear? Will it be translated? What happens if I resize my browser to be super tiny and then click it? What happens if I try to submit an empty form? What happens if I submit a 10 megabyte photo of my cat in the Your Name field? This is not a technical skill. This is a personality trait. It's a fundamental, deep-seated need to understand how things work by trying to make them not work. They are the people who, as kids, took apart the family VCR just to see how it worked, and maybe, they got it back together. Second is structured skepticism. This is a delicate one. It's not pessimism. A pessimist says this is all broken and terrible. It's not cynicism. A cynic says this is broken and the developer doesn't care. A skeptic says this looks great. The developer says it works. The blueprint says it should work. I believe them, but I am going to verify it. I am going to trust but verify. They have a deep respect for complexity. They know that software is the most complex thing humanity has ever built. And they know that complexity loves to hide errors. They believe in Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Their job is to find it in a safe, controlled environment before it goes wrong for a real person. Third is a pathological attention to detail. This is the one that drives their friends and family crazy. A great QA is the person who can't watch a movie without spotting the tiny continuity error in the background. They are the person who spots the single pixel misalignment on a web page. I once worked with a QA who found a bug that only happened, and I am not making this up. It only happened on February 29th during a leap year on a user's account that was created in a different time zone. The attention to detail required to not only find that, but to reproduce it and document it. It's a superpower. They can see the tiny crack in the matrix that everyone else misses. And this leads to the fourth and most important secret superpower of all: diplomacy and communication. This is the one that separates a good tester from a great one. Think about it. Your entire job is to find flaws. Your job is to walk up to a developer, a creative, brilliant person who has just spent 2 weeks pouring their heart and soul into building a feature they are very proud of. And your job is to walk up to them, look them in the eye and say, "Your baby is ugly." Okay, you don't say that. If you say that, you're a terrible QA. A bad QA just finds a bug and throws it over the wall. They write a bug report that just says it's broken, fix it. This creates an adversarial, toxic relationship. The developers see QA as the enemy, the department of no. A great QA is a master diplomat. They know that a bug is not a personal failure. It's a product failure. It's a team failure. They write a bug report that is a masterpiece of clarity and empathy. Title: clear, concise. The app crashes when a user tries to upload a PNG file. Steps to reproduce. A perfect, step-by-step recipe so the developer can see the exact same thing they saw. Actual result: the app closes unexpectedly. Expected result: the app should display an error message. Sorry, only JPG files are supported. Notes: this is the magic. This is where they add context. Hey developer's name, I found this weird edge case. Looks like we're not handling uploads. No big deal. Just wanted to make sure we catch it before it gets to users. Let me know if you can't reproduce it. I can swing by your desk and show you. It's we, not you. It's our product, not your code. It's a shared mission. A great QA makes the developer feel like they are partners in a quest for quality, not a judge scolding a student. This social skill, this empathy for their own team, is more important than any technical skill they will ever learn. So we have this curious, skeptical, detailed, diplomatic person. What do they do all day? I mean, really. Let's walk through a day in the life. It's not just click, 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 write bug report. 9:00 a.m. Arrive. Grab coffee. The first thing they do is check the build. A build is the new version of the app that the developers compiled overnight. It's like the new, fresh Lego set that's ready to be inspected. They install this new version on their test device. 9:15 a.m. Check the automated tests. They look at the dashboard. Did the robots find anything? 1,000 tests ran. 995 passed. 5 failed. This is their first clue. They investigate those 5 failures. Is it a real bug or did the test script itself break? That's a common problem. They investigate. Looks like 3 are real bugs. A new feature did break the login page. They log this immediately. 10:00 a.m. Daily stand-up meeting. The whole team, developers, QA, managers, gets together for 15 minutes. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What's blocking you? The QA says, yesterday I finished testing the forgot password feature. Today I'm starting on the new profile picture upload feature. I'm not blocked, but I will need the new build from developer's name by lunch to test it. This is all about communication and alignment. 10:15 a.m. Bug triage. Triage is a medical term from the battlefield. It's about deciding who to treat first. The team looks at all the new bugs that were found by QA, by automation, by real users, and they prioritize. This one, app crashes on login. That's a blocker, fix it now, nothing else matters. This one, the submit button is the wrong shade of blue. That's a low priority, we'll fix it later. This one, users can't complete a purchase. That's critical, fix it right after the blocker. The QA's voice is essential here. The developer might not know how bad a bug is. The QA can say, no, this is critical. It doesn't look bad, but it blocks 50% of our users from paying us money. They provide the user impact context. 11:00 a.m. Test case design. The developer is just finishing the new profile picture feature. The QA is already reading the requirements and writing the test cases. TC101, upload valid. TC102, upload valid. TC103, try to upload a GIF. TC104, try to upload a 50 megabyte file. What's the limit? TC105, try to upload a 1x1 pixel file. TC106, try to upload a text file. TC107, try to upload while offline. They are building their battle plan. 1:00 p.m. lunch. The new build arrives. It's go time. 1:00 p.m. 4:00 p.m. executing tests. This is the clicking part, but it's not. It's the executing part. They go through their test cases one by one, meticulously. TC101, pass. TC102, pass. TC103, the requirement said only JPG but the GIF uploaded, that's a bug. The system accepted something it shouldn't have. They stop, they reproduce it. Can they do it again? Yes. Okay, time to write a perfect bug report. They continue. TC104. They upload a 50 MB file. The app just spins forever. No error message. It doesn't crash, but it doesn't work. This is a usability bug. They log it. 4:00 p.m. exploratory testing. They finish their scripts. Now the fun begins. Okay, what if I start uploading and then I turn on airplane mode? Ooh, that crashed it, nice. What if I upload a picture and then go to my profile and try to delete it before the upload is finished? Oh, interesting. Now I have a blank profile picture I can't get rid of. This is where the magic happens. This is the art, not just the science. 5:00 p.m. Finish logging their last bugs, update their test plan, and head home. Knowing they made the product just a little bit safer, a little bit better, and a little less frustrating for the real users tomorrow. Now I've said this is important, but let's really talk about the impact. Because you might still be thinking, okay, so they find bugs in a phone app. Big deal. It's not life or death. Except sometimes it is. The impact of good or bad. QA scales with the importance of the software. Let's start small. A bug on an e-commerce website. A QA misses a bug where the add to cart button doesn't work on the new Samsung phone. How much money does that company lose per hour? Thousands, tens of thousands, millions. A single QA, by finding that one bug, can literally save a company from bankruptcy. Their work has a direct, measurable financial impact. But let's scale up. Think about the software in your car, the software that controls your anti-lock braking system, ABS, the software that decides when to deploy the airbag and with how much force. Who tests that? QAs, not just one, but teams and teams of specialist QAs. They don't just click buttons. They hook the car's computer up to massive simulation rigs. What if the sensor fails? What if it's C? What if it's plus 50 degrees C? What if the car hits a pothole while braking on ice? They have to think of everything, because if they miss one bug, people could die. Want a famous historical example? The Mars Climate Orbiter. In 1999, a $125 million NASA spacecraft was lost. It burned up in the Martian atmosphere. Why? A software bug. A catastrophic, embarrassing, simple software bug. One team of engineers at Lockheed Martin who built the spacecraft used imperial units, pounds, feet. The team at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory who flew the spacecraft used metric units, newtons, meters. The software that passed the thrust data from the ground to the ship did not do the conversion. A QA process should have caught that. A simple integration test, a test of two systems talking to each other, would have found it. Test case, verify data transfer. Step 1, send 100 pounds. Expected result, receive 445 newtons. Actual result, receive 100 newtons. The lack of that simple, systemic quality check resulted in a $125 million crater on Mars. One more, the Thurac 25. This is the one that QA and medical device professionals talk about in hushed tones. In the 1980s, it was a radiation therapy machine, and it had a software bug. A race condition, a bug that only happens if a human operator, a very fast typing one, entered data too quickly. The result? The machine delivered massive, lethal doses of radiation. It killed multiple patients. It was a software bug, a bug a QA could have found. Test case, test with fast expert users, test by mashing the keyboard. So when you think of a QA, yes, picture the person testing your pizza delivery app. That's an important job, but also picture the person testing the software for a pacemaker, the person testing the navigation system for an airplane, the person testing the new power grid, the person testing the banking system that holds your life savings. Their job is to stand in the gap. They stand between a simple, logical human mistake in a line of code and a potential real-world, sometimes catastrophic, consequence. It is not a low-skill job. It is not a just clicking buttons job. It is a high-stakes, high-skill, analytical, and deeply human profession that our entire modern world is built on. And this has a special resonance, at least for me, when I think about the Ukrainian context. The world knows Ukraine as a powerhouse of tech talent. We are famous for our brilliant developers, our engineers, our startups. Our Dia app, for example, is a marvel of digital government. But what the world should also know is that this industry is supported by a foundation of world-class quality assurance engineers. They are the ones who ensure that the products we deliver to the world, often under the most difficult and unimaginable circumstances, are not just functional but stable, secure, reliable, and high quality. They are the guardians of the made in Ukraine reputation in tech. They are upholding that standard in the face of air raids, power cuts, and incredible stress. That is not just a job, that is a mission. So after all this, who is the QA? We started this journey with a simple, frustrating, frozen app, and we ended it with exploding rockets and life-saving medical devices. We've learned that a QA is not a button clicker. They are a scientist executing a meticulous test plan. We've learned they are not just finding bugs, that's QC. They are preventing bugs by building better processes and fixing the system, that's QA. We've learned they are not just failed programmers. They are the masters of two crafts: the human, empathetic, curious art of manual testing, and the technical, logical, powerful skill of automation. And we've learned that their true superpower is not in their technical skill, but in their mindset. A mindset that blends a child's curiosity, a scientist's skepticism, and a diplomat's empathy. The world is run by software. That's not an exaggeration, it's a simple fact. Our lives, our money, our safety, our connections, they all depend on billions of lines of code. And that code is written by people, by brilliant, talented, wonderful people, but people who are, by definition, imperfect. We get tired, we misunderstand, we make typos, we make mistakes. It is not a moral failing, it is the simple, beautiful, messy yet wonderful condition of being human. The role of the quality assurance engineer, then, is to be the human-centric safety net for that imperfection. They are the ones who have the courage to ask, what if? They are the ones who have the patience to check the work. They are the ones who stand up and say, this is great, but it could be better, it could be safer, it could be easier to use. In a world that is obsessed with moving fast and breaking things, the QA is the vital, balancing voice that whispers, how about we move fast and don't break things, or at least not for the person who has to use it. They are not the destroyers of creation. They are the polishers, the hardeners, the finishers. They are the ones who help turn a brilliant idea into a reliable reality. So the next time your app works perfectly, the next time your payment goes through smoothly, the next time you land in a new city and your digital map just works, take 1/2 second and send a little thank you into the universe. Because you can be sure that somewhere, a team of dedicated, curious, and slightly skeptical QA engineers spent weeks of their lives thinking of all the ways it could go wrong. Just so that for you, in that one moment, it would go perfectly right. Thank you so much for your time and your attention today. This was a big one, but it's a story I think is so important. I truly hope you found it valuable. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. We have so many more human stories from the world of tech to explore. And remember to hit that little bell so you don't miss the next one. Be curious, be kind, and always question the default settings. See you in the next one.